welcome to my channel. I am Marianne, aging gracefully. Today's video is about a little bit of cooking, a little bit of some of my very favorite kitchen items that I use a lot more during the fall and winter months that I want to share with you.
Such as my cookbooks. Love just stacking them up on the end of the bed or the coffee table and getting into it for some holiday baking, like some favorite banana bread that I just love to cook, especially during the fall and winter, because it also acts as a great air freshener. And of course, cast iron skillets, my favorite. And I really do a lot more hearty cooking with cast iron during the winter months. And this is my biggest mama that I have, and I love it. Love it. And there's nothing as great smelling as a stew like this Irish stew simmering in a big old-fashioned cast iron skillet. And aprons all year round, but especially when I'm doing a lot more seasonal baking, I need those aprons because, yes, I'm messy. The good thing about me, though, is I do clean it up, but I love aprons, all types and all styles.
And it's a little bit about my favorite color palettes, what I like to wear, how I like to do my face during the fall, and just chats like that. So grab something to drink and let's begin. First of all, I think I'll just talk to you about what I have on my face today. Pretty simple. It is the It Cosmetics Your Skin But Better. I did talk to you a little bit about this in my last video. I returned that particular color for light cool number 20. Quite a bit different. I love the way this feels on my skin. I love the way it makes my skin look. It was just way too light, and I was finding I had to really put on some bronzer with it. And since you can't sample anything in the stores now, they have a really good policy where they've extended returns up to, I think it's 180 days. Yeah, so I took it back, and one of the clerks was really nice, helped me just pick out a shade that's better, and it's perfect. I love it. So I have that on. I'm trying to use just what I have, and of course I've talked about this. This is the Mineral Veil by who's this by? Hourglass. I love this powder. I think it's very, it's milled to a very soft, velvety feel. It just goes on your skin so nicely. And it is a loose powder, and I love it. I just love it. But, you know, I tend to savor those particular things that I really, really like because they have a little bit more of a higher price. And so for every day, I just kind of use the normal runaround type powders. But for a loose powder, between this and my Chanel loose powder, I love it. It actually, I think, leaves a little bit of a very natural, sheenish glow to your skin, and it doesn't irritate my pores. It doesn't pack. It's just a beautiful powder, and I love it. So I have that on, and then this Tarte powder, it's in Buff, and I have that also on. Really been using a lot of my Tarte blushes. I love them. They're beautiful. They're long lasting. I don't think you can go wrong with Tarte. If you're really looking for an all around pretty blush, there's, you know, such a variety of colors, but I do love their blushes. So I was very inspired by the day today because it's a little bit overcast. You know, 30-40% chance of rain, a little bit of rain out there, a little bit of overcast, some cloud covers, but nice and cool, no humidity. Oh, and it just puts me in such a, you know, just such a good frame of mind, and I have just needed it. Okay guys, I know it's a little bit loud, having the grass cut. But my doors are open, the windows are open, and I can smell that fresh grass. And I'm thankful for it. I haven't smelled that great, wonderful, crisp air and that fresh cut grass in many months, and it just makes me happy. So I wanted to share that with you. So I plan on getting a whole lot done today, and it's inspiring to me to have the windows open, the doors open, and letting that nice fresh air come in. And so I just decided, yep, I am going to put on my makeup. Don't really have any place to go today as far as errands, just a few this afternoon. But I wanted to go into what my color palette is. So what I've been doing lately is kind of using the same blush as my shadow. So here's what I did today. One of my favorite bronzers is this Chanel. I've talked about this in the past, and I've had this forever. It's just like the gift that keeps on giving. I love it. I keep the lid that comes with the actual product on it all the time, and then the over lid. And I really make sure it's on tight because I don't want it to dry out. But I just think, as far as a bronzer, this is beautiful. It just goes on your skin. It's so buildable, and it never looks cloggy, muddy, or fakeish. It's just really beautiful. So I have my angled brush that I use, and I just kind of go all around my face, and just to add that little bit of color to it. And this smells just so Chanel. It has a very fresh scent, and I really tend to use this particular bronzer really a lot during the fall and winter. And then, like I said earlier, I covered up with Tarte Blush, and this is Buff. I have been using this quite a bit the last 3 or 4 weeks, but I've really been using a lot of my Tarte blushes. I really like them. They're long lasting, they're natural looking, they're pretty. I can't say enough about them. And of course, then this. I love this. But today, what I did was I just took my little shadow brush and went inside, and I used this for shadow. And I think it's a really pretty, my color palette for fall. I really like it. Looks like I need to do just a little bit more blending, so I will here. And I did put on my Tom Ford under eye shadow that I use over my entire lid. It just gives me a nice even tone. It's got a little bit of pinkiness to it. And so that's what I did. And I think it looks so pretty. And what I've been doing lately is whatever blush I'm using, I have been using it as shadow also. So I did go into the crease with this Buff because it's got just a little bit, as you can see, a little bit of shimmer to it, not an obnoxious shimmer. So that's what I've been doing. And then I followed it up with, I savor this and my Chanel loose powder because these are a little bit more on the, no, they're on the little higher end side as far as costs, but I love it. I love the way my skin reacts to it. I love the fact that it doesn't clog my pores. It doesn't cause itching. It's a beautifully milled powder. So between this and my Chanel powder, I kind of savor them. I use them for just special days. Today's just a treat day for me. I just feel so invigorated by the nice fresh air, and so I'm treating myself to my good powders. And I tend to use these more so in the fall and winter because then I don't have to keep powdering up because I'm not as oily. So that's just kind of my thought on that. So that's what I have on. And then for my lips, I am into the Lisa Eldridge. She has beautiful, beautiful lipsticks, beautiful colors. that just I love to wear all fall and winter, really, even in the summer, but mostly this time of year. So I started out with this. This is the Velvet Fawn, and it's really pretty. I mean, the color of it is just so gorgeous for fall. And then I just kind of dabbled a little bit of Velvet Ribbon, I think. No, Velvet Morning over. And it's just that combination I like, because when the over coat just kind of wears off a little, then this really is very natural looking on my lips. So those two, and that's what I have on. So what I've been doing is using the same for my cheeks and my eyes, and I think it's just a really nice, perfect fall look. And I have this little waffle shirt. Let me see if I can stand up here, from Amazon that I picked up. It's really nice and comfortable, and it's light material. It's not the heavy. And then I am wearing just a pair of gold trimmed earrings that I haven't dug out in such a long time, and thought, okay, I'll put those on today. And then my Nouvelle Pearl necklace, which I just love. It's so dainty, and even with this waffle t-shirt, it just looks perfect. So I wanted to share that with you. And now I want to talk to you about kind of like where my heart always is, and that's in the kitchen. I love to cook, and with that said, you know, I like to eat, but I'm always trying now to keep my, I don't want to use the word diet in mind, just my eating habits, that to continue to keep them healthy, and learn to cook in that healthy way. So let me just say this. Do I use real butter? Do I use real cream in recipes? Yes. Do I use sea salt? Yes. Do I use wine or beer in my cooking? Yes. I use those types of ingredients because they enhance flavor, and I love to cook with fresh herbs, all types, all kinds, and it's okay to take a chicken and cook it in your oven and leave the skin on, and then remove it for eating. Flipping it over, it's crisp, that's the way I like it, and it's going to do most all of its cooking right there in the oven. There's nothing wrong with cooking like that and then adding that chicken to a salad later in the week, or having it with your meal and fixing a potato or sweet potato or rice. But yes, I do cook with real balsamic vinegar and real butter, and I don't use margarine. I don't use, those. Everything in moderation, and I just think when you have good ingredients in your food, it's much more satisfying, not just to your palate, it's just more sustaining. And so you use less of it instead of more of it, because I think when you're using artificial flavorings, you add more because you're striving for that taste. So that's just my take on doing things in the kitchen. I want to use good products and just bring out as much as I can to enhance flavor of food. And so that leads me to my next little segment. Some of my very, very favorite products that I use in the kitchen. And these products you can use all year round, but I tend to have different items that I use. for example, starting out, first and foremost, an apron. I'll insert a picture here. I have this wall where I have this hanger, and I have all of the aprons that I wear in the kitchen. Sometimes I have aprons that I wear when I'm buzzing around the house cleaning. And the candle aroma today is brought to you by stuffed green peppers and freshly cut green grass. And I like aprons with deep pockets. And sometimes when I'm doing a lot of heavy cooking and baking, then I need a wraparound apron. Full apron that covers me from pretty much my neck all the way down to my mid-calf, because I am a messy cook. I like wearing an apron and being able to just wipe my hands when I need to quickly. That's why I'm wearing the apron. It's to protect my clothes. But I'm just very sentimental to aprons. I have a basket in my kitchen where I have some folded up aprons that belong to my grandmother, that belong to my mom, that belong to my aunt and uncle who had a catering business, that there's just, if an apron could talk and share stories, I think they would be wonderful, wonderful, heartwarming stories. I think aprons have a very important purpose in the kitchen, of course, but I also think there's something wonderful about when I look at all of my aprons hanging there. It just brings me a lot of joy, because I know that I'm either baking or cooking and I'm making good food, and I'm either going to celebrate with just my family or with others, and it's just a reminder of the good that I can do in the kitchen, and I don't look at it as a drudgery. So I think aprons are great, and I think, you know, you can zhuzh them up. Some of my aprons have little ruffles on them. Some of them are just plain working aprons and feel good on. And, you know, once you get used to wearing an apron, you just kind of always go for that apron. So, even when my granddaughter's here and we're baking, first thing she does is she goes over to that and she grabs her little apron. And then, of course, here's yours, Noni, and that's just wonderful. It's just a good feeling. So, aprons. Next, what I want to talk about is my crock pot. I tend to bring my crock pot out for use during the summer and the fall. And there's certain foods I like to just use my crock pot for and cook in. It's of course, slow cooker. It cooks over a period of time. And example, today I have in my crock pot stuffed peppers. I like the way a crock pot cooks my peppers. Now you can do them on the stove, you can bake them in the oven, but I like the way the crock pot cooks the peppers. It keeps the meat really moist, and the long process of cooking the peppers really flavors the sauce, the juices, and the meat. And I just think it's a better tasting pepper in a crock pot. So that's a favorite. Also, ricers. I have had a rice gadget since I was married. And the first one I had actually lasted me 20 some years. And it's like it was a rice and vegetable steamer. And then I purchased a ricer, I think it's Wolfgang Puck, and I've had that for many, many years. Of course, you can also use your stovetop to cook your rice. It takes a little more of your time and attention. I like the fact that I can just add the rice, the water, or broth, or spices, or whatever I'm doing, and turn it on, and walk away, and know it'll be done in a certain period of time. I also like using the Instant Pot, and I use the Instant Pot. I have two, the very large and the small one, for different types of cooking. I do cook rice in the Instant Pot, but it just depends on what style of rice I'm making. Sometimes I really want a very drier type of rice, and so I use my ricer for it. I get a moister rice when I use the Instant Pot. So it just depends on what I'm making and what I prefer to use. So yes, I use a crock pot. I use an Instant Pot. I use the smaller size Instant Pot almost 2 to 3 times a week. And I am making steel cut oats in it. I make my hard-boiled eggs in it. Anything on a smaller scale. And sometimes when I'm just have a little bit of vegetables left over in the fridge, I chop them all up, throw them in the Instant Pot, the small one, add some broth and rice, and I have a really nice mixture that is done quickly in the Instant Pot. So depending on what I'm doing and the texture of what I want from the food, that's how I base the decision on what item I'm using. Another product that I favor so much in the kitchen is my cast iron. I have a couple of different kettles. I have several different frying pans. I have large ones, small ones, skinny ones, and I love my cast iron. Now, it cooks food so evenly. So, for example, stew. You can throw all the ingredients of stew into a crock pot or into an Instant Pot, but I think there's something really great about a stew that's made either in the oven or on top of the stove in a cast iron pot. It's a seasoned pot, and each time you use it, it just gets better and better with age, just like we old folks do. We do get better and better with age, but a seasoned cast iron, it's wonderful. And it just takes a little bit of care to keep your cast irons beautifully seasoned, and I love them. Yes, the downfall is they are heavy. So when you're cooking with them, you have to think about, what you're doing, and you always need your next item, your hand mitts. I love hand mitts. I like the ones that cover all the way up my arm, and I also like the half ones, but they're so handy when you're moving these heavier pots. So I love that in the kitchen. And also good paring knives, a cleaver. These are things that I use pretty much like all year round, but I just think that that's important. But these bigger items are the items I tend to go to more during the fall and winter, because I am making more stews or soups or stoops or chili. I can throw chili in the crock pot very easily, but there's something about chili in a cast iron pot that is just, I don't know, it's just wonderful. So I automatically know when I'm getting ready to fix a meal and what I'm making, I just know what I'm going to use. I know which pan or which gadget I am going to use. And I always start off in the kitchen with a good apron, and because I am definitely going to be making a mess. And then depending on what I'm cooking, then I select my gadgets. And of course, most things in the oven, I have certain casserole dishes that I use. Like I have an oval glass casserole dish that I use all the time for macaroni and cheese. I've made macaroni and cheese in my cast iron, but I like using this oval dish for that. So I automatically know when I'm making mac and cheese, that's the casserole dish I'm going to put that in. When I'm baking banana bread, I have a King Arthur bread. I guess it's a pan, but it's ceramic that cooks banana bread, pumpkin bread, any kind of bread in it beautifully. So that is a favorite. And of course, you know, all types of mixing bowls that are near and dear to my heart that I've had for years and years, but that pretty much is something I use all year round. But anytime I'm going to make my banana bread or pumpkin bread or any kind of bread, I automatically know I'm using this for that type of bread. And sometimes if it's just something on the lighter side, then I kind of go for my tinware. It just depends, but pretty much I have that same ritual that of pans that I use and cookware that I use just all the time. I just wanted to share with you what inspires me to change things up in the fall and winter, and it is when we're eating heartier, and I think it can cut out the drudgery that you might think, oh, I can't make ham and bean soup. Yes, you can. So easy, so simple, with really good ingredients, great ingredients. And you can make sauces by using the stove, the crock pot, the Instant Pot. Just because a new product comes out and hits the market and becomes the craze doesn't mean you kick everything to the curb. You just learn what is going to make that particular meal easier for you. So, hey guys, it was great to talk to you. I'm just so happy to be able to get on here whenever I can steal a few minutes and share with you what I'm excited about, and I'll post some pictures and I'll let you know at the end of this video how the peppers came. So until my next video, be kind, be humble, age gracefully, and enjoy the fall. Bye. So banana-y.